I think, Scott, if we can hand over to you to just quickly go through the wrap up before we open up to questions from the audience. There are a few questions here. So Scott, if we're over to you, and then we'll go through those questions.
Great. Let me just get my screen up here. Sorry, just 2 seconds. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now. Oh, hang on, there we go. Cool. So guys, just a couple of things. One thing that's really exciting is the white paper is literally being finished today. The lawyers in San Francisco are giving it the final once-over. And we talk a lot in the white paper around this, but I've had the privilege of meeting Ray Kurzweil, and you know, he's one of the best predictors of the future and where it's going, including AI. And what was interesting when I met him at Singularity University 2 years ago was he said the best way to pick where value is going to be or where opportunity lies is where you look for major trends and where those intersections are happening. And we believe there's 8 major trends which are intersecting in or around 2020, and it's why we believe we can empower 1 billion people. So the first one is gamification.
Before you go,
yep.
Scott, I asked that you, when you're sharing the screen, could you share just the PowerPoint? Because we can see your entire screen around it, and it's quite small on the screen.
Oh, apologies, yeah.
Just use to share the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
That'll be, there we go, thank you.
Cool, yeah. So I'm going to run through these quickly. We don't have time tonight to go into them in detail, but in simple terms, gamification and learning while doing. So it's going to fundamentally change education. Blockchain and cryptocurrencies, which we've spoken about a lot, is going to increase trust and reduce friction costs. Social commerce and collaborative investing is going to increase people's ability to make returns and reduce risk. Personalization. People have had enough of the plan for everybody. They want personalized plans for wealth, you know, for themselves, and they want to have a meaningful connection with their investments. There's a rise of the middle class. Over 3 billion people around the world are joining the global economy, and they want the same things that wealthy people want. There's globalization. We spoke about volatility tonight, and people want to diversify now across countries, assets, and currencies. There's social pressure to democratize the access to wealth and really empower the 99%. And I really look forward to sharing with you, both David and Kevin, the wealthy test that we've designed and the 8 steps to wealth course that we've made. And then the investors wanting to have a purposeful impact, I think, is really what people are looking at. What's fascinating for me is that, you know, the crypto space, you know, continues to go up and down and is very, very volatile. But what's coming through clear as day, and I know Scott Myers is online, and the feedback I've been getting from everyone I talk to is that what people are really looking for is real businesses that have real track records. And Kevin updated these numbers now, but we've got members from 111 countries, investors from 44 countries. We've had $68 million go through the platform, over 1,700 transactions, you know, and it's all on the blockchain. And the one that I'm probably proudest of is that we've got a higher than 70% reinvestment rate. So we must be doing something right. And so that just brings me to a quick conclusion around the 3 things to look for in a successful ICO. The first one is an existing business that's making money. So for the last 2 years, we made more than $1 million. And this year, we're well on track to double and triple that. The second thing is, and why I say make money is that, you know, it's all good and well to have these wonderful, fanciful ideas as to how you're going to change the world, but you also need to know how to make money. Otherwise, you know, it's just going to be a good idea. The second thing is an existing team. And again, you know, it's very hard to build a team. A lot of people think that you're going to write a white paper and get a couple of people together and just go and execute no matter what happens in the world economy. But to have a really good world-class team, and, you know, David's been talking tonight. I was just on the phone with Richard Titus, and, you know, the rest of the board from a real estate perspective, from a technology and market perspective, compliance, and even the education. It's really, really important. And this is not even talking about the leadership team and people that we've now got based, you know, full-time people that are based, 60 people on 5 continents. And then the third one for me, which I think is the most important, is supply and demand. And ultimately, it's simple economics. If the supply is fixed, then the demand is what's going to drive, you know, the effectively the value and mass consumer adoption. And again, what's really important here is that a lot of great ideas are out there, particularly in this ICO blockchain space, but are they really solving a global problem? Like, is there really a need for some of the stuff that people, you know, are building? And, you know, from our perspective, there's clearly a need. I mean, if you could look at our members signing up, it's growing by a massive number per day. And you can see what happened here. We actually had more people sign up in January than we had in the whole of 2016. It was quite funny. And then also Kevin did this. and that's where our members are based around the world. So we're in 111 countries now. There's only 193 countries on the planet, and that's, you know, steadily growing. And then the investors, and then the transactions is also important, because you take the last 3 years, you know, we were at 179 transactions in 2015, 302 in 2016, and 908 in 2017. And as a minimum target, we're aiming for over 2,000 this year. And then you can see where the investors come from. Not quite as colorful as the members. So one of the things that the Wealthy Coin is going to do is to enable engagement, education, and build trust, so that members have the trust to be able to invest, and we can grow that investor base. And yeah, to finish off, you know, Peter Diamante says the biggest problems are the world's biggest opportunities. The wealth gap every single year. People talk around how income inequality is getting worse and worse. I've got some slides that I shared on Tuesday night if you want to watch that recording of the webinar. If there's any ladies online, you won't be very pleased to know that you own less than 10% of the world's wealth. If there's any millennials online, you'll know that you've definitely got the back end of the bad end of the wrong stick. And equally, unless you live in Australia, England, or Europe, or America, you've also you know, got the wrong end of the stick. So it's a global problem, and it's getting worse, and someone has to do something about it. And that's really where the Wealthy Coin comes in. This is the global plan that we're putting together with the Wealthy Exchange, and it really unlocks the entire ecosystem. And again, for tonight, I'm not going to go into those details, but it's now all in the white paper. And by tomorrow, if you're on the Telegram groups or the WhatsApp groups, we'll be making sure, or just go to wealthy.io and sign up, and we'll make sure that you've got it. And then there's also a great use of funds there, where it explains how we're using the funds. And it's really important to see that there's a step level here. So as we raise more funds, we will be able to do more, including a $10 million investment, but we'll be able, in real estate, we'll be able to do more to solving the wealth gap. And I'm not going to talk too much around the timing, just to the point that the white paper is now ready, and it'll be all action go as of tomorrow, including the bounty program really being turned on properly now. And I think that's all from my side, Kevin. In terms of the next steps, I'll leave the screen up if you want to ask some of those questions that you had. And I'm also conscious David's needs to be on stage soon.
Yeah, thanks so much, Scott. In an unfortunate event here, my computer has crashed, and so I'm now coming in from my mobile phone. So I hope everyone can hear me.
Do you want me to? I can hear you. Do you want me to look at the questions quickly?
So Scott, if you could do that, because unfortunately right now I cannot see them, because the mobile app unfortunately doesn't allow for that, and a Mac is not supposed to crash, but this one has. So Scott, if you could please look at those questions.
Cool. Okay, so someone said, yeah, I'm mining. I own many coins and tokens, and I understand the new cryptocurrency and economy. I'm still finding it hard to see actual occupational opportunities unless you are technically minded. How do you see it? I'm not sure if you want to answer that, David. I know we did a great webinar in December that Kevin has cut up into small little videos with yourself and Richard Titus and Michael Turpin around what you guys look for in ICOs. But I don't know if you just want to briefly go over, you know, what you look for.
If I understand the question correctly, occupational opportunities, meaning how can people find a job in this new exciting world of blockchain and token sales, etc.
Yeah.
There are incredible opportunities, and to the point where the most important gating factor to deliver on the promises of what we talk about is the lack of human resources, human talent. And yes, obviously technical talent, but not only. Legal, marketing, graphical design, copywriting, cultural mediation, all kinds of skills are needed to successfully design a blockchain business and successfully design and implement a token and then support, you know, the token and the network of participants. There's so much that is needed, and really, you know, what is wonderful is that sometimes there are these silly job searches that say we want somebody who is specialized on 3 different things and they have 10 years of experience and they are not more than 25 years old. So that person supposedly started when he was 15 on those 3 crazy specialized fields and then built a 10-year experience. And now you want to hire him or her for very little money. So I wouldn't even respond to those ads. But what is wonderful about a blockchain is that nobody asks you for 10 years of experience. Nobody has 10 years of experience. We are building this now. We are really applying smarts and passion now. And anybody wanting to join us, they are so welcome. There is absolutely no doubt about it.
David, I want to add to that. Someone asked a question, and I'm just putting the dates up, both of our next 2 webinars in March, so you can see the dates there, and equally the live events around the world from Puerto Rico to South Africa. And why I want to add to that is that, my uncle taught me 20 years ago that the one-eyed man can lead the blind, and a lot of people get quite caught up in all the different acronyms and all the different words, and it sounds really scary and all that. Now, Wealth Migrate was built on blockchain, and to be fair, we've been investigating that for the best part of 3 to 4 years, and we've been live since October 2016. But in June the 1st last year, we did not know and had never even heard of an ICO. And my point being is that, I'm just backing up what you're saying, is that the world is changing so fast, and that people are prepared to share knowledge. You can learn very, very quickly. And so, just to empower people that they really can get up to speed. There's a wealth partner today that I met, one of our wealth partners who was at this event, and he literally said to me 6 months ago he had no idea what cryptocurrency was. Now he owns 27 coins. So I just want to give people confidence that it's possible.
So I'd like to add on to that. I was at a blockchain symposium just the other day where the ex-CEO of a very large company that actually ran the Johannesburg Stock Exchange is now working for Currencies, which is an Ethereum-based company. And all of the talk around this blockchain symposium was around the fact that it needs more than just blockchain developers. There are many different aspects where people can contribute. So I am back up on the on my computer. So there is another question that just says, when will we have a true bankless system all done through virtual currencies? That's what Sean has to ask.
The new solutions do not necessarily need to kill the old. The new solutions have the responsibility to show their benefit in a more inclusive and empowering manner, and then the old system will just potentially wither away by its own incapacity of adapting to these new needs. So can I already have members of my team anywhere in the world and pay them in Bitcoin or Ether or any other cryptocurrency? And can they receive that in real time rather than either being exposed to the vagaries of a wire transfer or the reversibility of a PayPal payment that is sometimes held up, and then you have to justify the payment to this gatekeeper in the middle? Not only I can, but I do. I have members of my teams who are in Pakistan, who are in Venezuela, who are in Argentina, who are in New Zealand, and that is what I do. Now, do I also pay them in fiat? Yes, because they have to buy groceries, they have to pay rent, and very importantly, they have to pay taxes. And that will be the last bastion of the old system. As long as you have to pay taxes in fiat currency, that is what will link you to this old system. And as soon as some countries accept to be paid in crypto, that will open the floodgates incredibly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just quickly, sorry, Kevin, just quickly, Sean Quinn asked David which would be the list of ICOs. It's a private question, I think, but I think it's probably something that David would be prepared to share with the wealth partners when we have the private wealth partner dinners. But I don't think it's something that we want to put publicly, because that's, you know, it's private. In terms of where we're going.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. What was it about the ICOs?
No, it's just in terms of you know, which ICOs that you like investing in, etc. And my request is that we rather leave that for the wealth partner dinners than sort of, you know, putting it out publicly if you want to. Yeah.
So,
of course. One important thing is that the criteria are not that hard, you know. And yes, there are a lot of scammers, and you cannot compete with them because the scammers don't have real work to do. They can dedicate 100% of their energy to scamming, you know, spamming, promoting, and then when you dig a little bit deeper beyond the marketing hype and the beautifully designed stuff, there is nothing substantial, right? You can't talk to the team, or the team is incoherent, and there is no depth to the project. But they can be very, very loud because they can afford it, right? Paradoxically, I like to find projects that may be less well known, but are very, very concrete, and where I know that they are going to deliver what they promise. And as a consequence, their tokens may be valuable not only at the time of the ICO, but further on in months and years of hard work following the token sale as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I see that Lee, who heads up our Dubai office, has just said that the UAE exchange, as well as Mashrak Bank, are both using Ripple and implementing that to actually manage their remittances, given that a large number of those people living in Dubai actually are expats. So, I mean, it definitely is something that I think is changing, and we're going to see changing as this develops. But as you have said, David, until you can pay your taxes in a currency other than fiat, there's still some way to go.
Yeah, and I think, guys, just to put in perspective, I'm almost willing to bet you that no one on this call knows who UAE exchange is unless you live in Dubai. But I guarantee you, anyone that's ever flown through an airport knows what TravelX is, and UAE Exchange owns TravelX, and they've got something like 16,000 branches around the world. So I just want to put it in perspective that TravelX is owned by UAE Exchange.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, Kevin.
We pretty much are coming to the end of the questions here. Sean has also just asked price of Bitcoin by end of 2018.
I don't have a problem going out on a limb. It is not a financial advice. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell. But I personally believe that with more and more people getting excited about blockchain and Bitcoin, and with more and more infrastructure, including from incumbents that want to open their own networks to what can be done through blockchain, we will see tremendous value. And as a consequence, the exchange rate of Bitcoin is going to appreciate. Do we see a 10 times increase to $50,000 like we've seen a 10 times increase in 2017? I actually do not exclude that possibility. I don't, because the network value of the total cryptocurrencies and tokens today of $300 billion or something like that can easily go into the trillions of dollars as we see month after month new applications, new platforms, new reasons to be excited about this technology.
Yeah, so guys, I just
do not take out loans to buy Bitcoin. Do not indebt yourself to buy Bitcoin. Okay, please.
Yeah, guys, I just shared the results there. It was just interesting what different people thought would happen based on where things are going. I presume you can still see my screen, so it was messing me around when I tried to show the poll there. Kevin, I'm conscious of the time. How are we looking?
So Scott, we've other than there's a question that's actually just come in. We've gone through all the questions tonight. That's just saying, I've come across an interesting ICO in Australia called My Smart Property, where they want to use the blockchain to remove real estate agents by linking property buyers and sellers directly. Richard, I mean, thanks for that comment. It's not really a question. What we are definitely going to see is blockchain and blockchain-enabled apps or companies, moving into the space of many traditional spaces where there are currently middlemen. And so, yes, this is most likely going to happen. And in the real estate space, I foresee many different iterations and different options out there in terms of the blockchain. So, it is going to come. It is something that is going to most likely take some time for traditional industries where people are not used to it, and the fact that the blockchain infrastructure might be difficult for some people. But as Scott's just put up the ecosystem layout on the screen there, and I don't know, Scott, if you want to go over and explain exactly.
All I just wanted to say for everyone who's online, this is actually wrong. So we've updated this. It shouldn't be crowdfunding sites. It should be partners. And because if you look here, it's got private equity, crowdfunding, private real estate portfolios. To be honest, it could be property. It might be the guys that you just mentioned in Australia. What most of these platforms have is solutions for in-country. And where we see it is that we will be able to help people that are what I refer to as the old world. We'll be able to help people in crowdfunding sites that don't want to just be stuck in one country, want to be able to do cross-border, and we'll be able to integrate with other blockchain solutions that want to be part of a trusted global network. So again, I could talk about this for probably 2 hours, but I think on the whole, you can see while Migrate is sitting there, it's a mere component of the greater system.
Absolutely. So if we can just end off with a final word from you, David, before you go over to have your discussion, your keynote at D10E in Silicon Valley. End us off tonight with something exciting.
Well, I am absolutely excited about Wealth Migrate as an investor and an advisor, and I am absolutely excited about the white paper being ready, because so many people who are interested in understanding the details of the Wealthy token are going to be able to dedicate energy and time to do so, and then ask questions, and we will be able, and the Wealth Migrate is going to be able to go to the next phase. I'm also excited about coming to South Africa to be together with you in person, as well as with those who are going to participate in our sessions and dinners. And with respect to the topic today, have a certain conviction of the unstoppability of technological trends. And I also link social structures to be an expression of these technological trends. And the empowering technologies that we see around us are going to design a new society that is going to be inclusive, emancipating, and empowering for individuals in a way that it hasn't been seen before. So a lot of what we do together with the people who follow the webinar, with you, the questions, with me speaking, with me listening also, is to prepare, not only passively waiting, but to prepare and actively be part of the creation of this new society. So that is what I am very excited about.
Great, thank you so much, David. And it's always a pleasure to have these webinars, to speak to you, Scott. It's really been great, and we look forward to seeing everybody on the 7th again for the next webinar. But as Scott has already said, we have a Telegram channel where we're very active, and you can ask any questions there.
And if you watch the recording, it will be click on the link below. If you're watching the recording, click on the link for the Telegram group. I just want to finish off with what David said. It reminds me of Dr. Dolph DeRosa, who says there's 3 types of people that happen when the world's changing. The first type doesn't know what's happening. The second type watches what's happening, and the third type gets involved.
Absolutely.
And we want to be of the third type.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It'll be great. It's great to have you all here tonight. Thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you again soon. Good night, everyone. Or good morning.